Howard gets it in, but it's knocked away by Lexie Hull. Hull with the steal. And the Indiana Fever, beset by major injuries all year long, are on the doorstep of making the semifinals.
We'll refer to this as a gut check task. Go home or win. There is no room for error. 6 players are out, and the referees are furious. Would the Indiana Fever be able to handle the pressure?
They just proved it in Game 3 of the WNBA Playoffs against the Atlanta Dream.
They took on the challenge head-on and made it to the semifinals for the first time since 2015 because to late-range attacks from Kelsey Mitchell, paint work from Aliyah Boston, and a game-changing play from Lexie Hull. So, this is the actual query. Was this an isolated incident or the catalyst for the Fever's ascent in the years to follow? Tell us how proud you are of the Indiana Fever in the comments section below. Come on.
We've just been through so much this season, giving ourselves another chance in Game 3. Emotions are high.
This is a group that's confidence has really never wavered. This group has continued to show their heart, their character, night in and night out.
I think we all piggyback off each other within our group and our organization.
We've been in every kind of situation you can imagine, and we've been able to find ways to put ourselves in position to win, and this will be no different.
Somebody has to lose and somebody has to win.
Imagine going almost 10 years without winning a postseason series. A drought like that doesn't merely exist on a statistical record. It has an impact on a team, its supporters, and each player who plays. Tamika Catchings was still the team's mainstay when the last time the Indiana Fever made it thus far. During her first term as head coach, Stephanie White was coaching from the sidelines, while Natasha Howard was only starting her career. In 2015, the league had a totally different appearance. In the present, the Fever entered a third game that involved more than just basketball. It was about putting them to the test once more by history.
You talked about the desperation before Game 2 on Tuesday. Just how does that carry over into tonight?
Well, I think anytime that you're a win-or-go-home situation, there's desperation. And so it has to carry over. You know, we're in the same situation. Our back is against the wall. We got to come out and we've got to play with that sense of urgency. We've got to play with that hunger. We've got to value every single possession and every single opportunity.
The condition of their roster made the situation much more urgent. Consider this. Chloe BBY, Ari McDonald, Dyrus Dantas, Sydney Colson, Sophie Cunningham, and Caitlin Clark are all listed as injured. That represents a significant loss in scoring ability and expertise. This wasn't just another playoff night all of a sudden. With a team that needed to use every ounce of talent and chemistry to compete, it was win or lose. Nobody was placing cash on them outside that locker room. In a sense, they benefited from that lack of anticipation. They were forced to engage in combat.
Now, this one on Lexie Hull got me riled up because this was early on in the game, and this was probably the best defense that Lexie could have played. If you watch this play here, Ryan Howard is going down. Lexie Hull's guarding her. Ryan goes behind her back. Lexie doesn't touch her because she's backpedaling the whole time. She has her hands straight up. Like, this is really good defense that Lexie played here.
Do you recall the outcome of the first game? A series of phantom whistles, calls that killed momentum, and their coach receiving a technical foul. It was easy to see the frustration in that building. It was obviously visible even on television. Those players remembered. They took that resentment and used it as fuel. After being denied a fair chance just a few nights prior, it was about reclaiming their reputation.
Indiana Fever are heading to the semifinals.
Driving to the foul line and the paint, lays it in. Sims crossover left to right, gets into the paint, layup, good!
Inside, Boston.
Before a single basket was made, the story was delivered in pre-game interviews. Kelsey Mitchell was composed and determined, as though she was aware that she would have to take the brunt of the blame. Aliyah Boston said softly but confidently, as if she were ready for an internal conflict she couldn't avoid, against an Atlanta team that is healthy and gaining momentum at home.
The challenge looked tilted from the outside. The crowd at Gateway Center Arena was ready to end the Fever's run right there. But here's the thing. Indiana wasn't only staring down the dream. They were staring down a decade's worth of frustration. And in that storm, they made their choice. They chose fight over fear. Which leads to the real question, could single moments from individual players be enough to turn all those years of waiting into a brand new story?
To Jones, throws it up.
No good! Game over! And the Fever are moving on!
The Fever found themselves in the kind of situation that defines entire seasons. Down late in Game 3, surrounded by the intense roar of just under 4,000 Atlanta fans, every possession felt heavier than the one before it. A season's worth of fights, injuries, and doubts funneled into those final minutes. And the crowd was savoring every moment, trying to drag Indiana into silence. The Fever didn't fold. They turned to the players who had carried them all year, and one by one, people stepped into the fire.
Just picked up her second foul, so Hillman and Gray each with 2. Mitchell over the Boston screen.
And that was tough, her hands. But going back to that ball screen here, little movement in the first part of that screen by Aliyah Boston.
Mitchell, man,
she is so good.
Kelsey Mitchell was the steady pulse that kept Indiana alive.
Atlanta loaded the paint and sent help every time she touched the ball because they understood they had to crowd her. Mitchell still scored 24 points, though. The fact that 19 of those points were scored before halftime is noteworthy because it demonstrates the kind of surge that keeps a team afloat when traveling. She found ways to help elsewhere by providing blocks, assists, or whatever else to keep the flow going even as the Dream attempted to block her pathways. Constant defensive pressure did not make scoring simple. Mitchell, however, did not vanish. She just persisted in attacking, and her colleagues took advantage of her unwavering resolve.
attacking from the outside and now the inside. And Mitchell's been quiet for a while. Not anymore. Mitchell over to Boston. Again, the shot clock winding down. Mitchell, tough shot off the bounce to get around Jones.
2 steps behind the three-point line and the dribble handoff for Kelsey Mitchell.
Within the paint, Aliyah Boston was establishing her own story, paired with Bree Jones. She took blow after blow in the low post without ever losing her cool. Jones had the size edge on paper, but Boston countered it with timing, location, and her developing sense of where to seal her opponent early.
This is just 4 of 16 from the floor in game 2. That's terrific. Paul into Boston.
Beautiful read.
6 assists, 12 rebounds, and 14 points. Her intentions in the game are not fully conveyed by her stat line. All of the bounces were in traffic. Each assist gave the team the push they needed for one more shot. She wasn't merely surviving. She was leading the center of an undermanned, undersized group with calmness well beyond her years.